Hi everybody, my name is Marcy, and I want to take you on my beginner's journey into the world of arts and crafts. I know there are plenty of people just like myself who are new to arts and crafts and watch lots of wonderful YouTube tutorials and dream of creating projects just like the ones we see experienced artists create. I certainly am not there yet and likely never will be, but I'm absolutely loving the journey. So let's get started with this snowy, fireworky journal page I did to get ready for the new year. The paper I'm using here is magazine pages out of a junk journal I had created. As my journal became fuller and fuller, it became more bulky and the staples started pulling out. So I just had to cut the pages apart, and at some point we'll need to bind them together. Now I'm just using a glue stick to put on the back side of my magazine pages to just make it a little sturdier and easier to work with. The paper I am using here has already been gessoed, so it is ready to be painted. My original plan for this project was to have the night sky with fireworks and a cityscape in front of the fireworks. So while my black paint is drying, I decided to pull pages from an old paperback dictionary I have that I use for a lot of background kinds of things. And I was getting ready to gesso them to prepare them to use as my buildings in my cityscape. While my dictionary pages were drying and my black paint was drying, I decided to take a break, get up, take a shower. I came back to the camera and my battery was dead. Rookie mistake, I know. But I put it on the charger, but while it was charging, I continued working on the project a little bit. I worked on trying to create some buildings, and I worked on the ground of my journal page a little bit. So when I got my camera going again, as you can see, I had painted snow on the ground of my journal page. I had added a little bit of gray to my dictionary page to push back the text a little bit. I had also painted the building yellow for window lights, then painted black around the borders, and in some of the windows I put some gray for lights out in those rooms. I didn't really like the gray. It was too light and needed to be darkened up. But what I found interesting was just adding the snow with the blue and the white was beginning to already change the direction I thought my journal page might go a little bit. I was no longer seeing just white, gold, and black. Obviously, I'd thrown in some blue. So I decided to go ahead and put in the fireworks. And to start those, I was going to put down white fireworks first because I wanted the white on top of the black so that the fireworks would stand out better against that black paint. And then my plan was to make some of the fireworks have a light magenta, some a light yellow, and some a light blue as the next layer before I went in with my gold. And as you can see there, my fireworks, I'm basically just bringing lines out in a circular motion. It could easily be a flower if it weren't in the sky. Um, and that's all I did to create my fireworks. Unfortunately, at some point during this process, as I'm laying in the white, I decided to pause the video so that you all didn't have to watch me lay those in, because I do work really slowly. When I went to restart the video again, apparently I didn't actually restart the video again. So I did not get recorded where I was putting in the color. You'll see in a couple of minutes that I did indeed lay down light magenta, light yellow, and light blue. Then I started going back over them with a little bit of white in places and some gold. My fireworks ended up being many layers. So I got my camera going again, and as you can see, my fireworks are all laid in, and you can see the magenta and yellow and blue underneath. But when I put the gold over the blue ones, I did not like that at all. So I ended up going back with a little white over the gold on the blue ones to push the gold back, and then I went over the top with silver, and I thought that looked much better. But again, changed to what I thought was going to be the color scheme. Then I had darkened the windows on my buildings, but then as I put them down and look at it and the way they cover up the fireworks with the snow and stuff, I really don't like it. I really like the snow, and I'd actually gone in at this point and I'd already added some highlights to the snow. I like the snow. I like the fireworks, although I'd gotten a little crazy with them. And those were banners that I had made that I'd printed out from my computer to put in the corners. So what I decided I was going to do was, instead of using the buildings, I was going to throw in some pine trees and just keep it that simple. Now, I'm not great at drawing trees, but I did my best. One thing I noticed as I was watching this is I grip the paintbrush like I'm gripping a pencil right down at the end, and that's exactly the way I write. That's something, seeing it on video, that I can try to work on, because that would loosen up my grip on the paintbrush, which I'm betting would help me with some of my painting. It's not something that I realized that I do until I watched the video through. So as a new person, I just caught something that I might be able to work on to see if that helps me with some of my painting. After I painted my trees in, I decided they needed a little bit of highlight. A, because some of them kind of looked like triangular shaped blobs, and B, to help differentiate the tree from the dark night sky. So I went back with white, added a little bit of highlight or snow or whatever you want it to be, just to help bring the trees out a little bit. And you can see there I was dabbing with a little bit of my paper towel. If I had a little more white on there than I wanted, it just helped pull a little bit of that back up. Then after I had done that, to all of them, I actually decided that I probably needed one more tree. I've kind of got a thing against even numbers, and I noticed I had 6 trees, and so I kind of felt the need to add another one just to make them an odd number. And you'll notice my trees, some of them are not straight up and down. They're certainly not even. Some of them are barely trees at all. But I'm pretty happy with it overall for a journal page, and given that I was trying to record for the first time as I was doing anything, that was a little nerve-wracking for me because I was trying to concentrate on what I was doing and talk, and I would get really quiet and I say a lot. So that's why I decided to do a voiceover. Number one, I was able to speed up the video because I work much more slowly than I realized that I do. And watching that in real time on a video would just be horrific, even for me. So I was able to speed it up and do the voiceover. After I got the last tree in, I was pretty pleased with the journal page. The only thing left to do was to add my 2 tags, Happy New Year and 2019. Before I added those to the page, I was going to emboss the top and bottom edges with some silver glitter embossing powder, just to add a little sparkle to the tags and to help draw in the silver of the fireworks. As you can see, when I start pouring the embossing powder, I'm none too precious with it, which is why I put down the sheet of wax paper underneath so that I can pour the leftover embossing powder back into the jar and save it for another time. While I'm embossing these, I wanted to mention that, as you can see, I am not great at painting, but I do enjoy it so much. I enjoy the whole process. I did like the snowbanks. That was probably or the snow field. That was probably my favorite part of the entire thing. Only because my fireworks I ended up getting a little carried away with, and they got a little wild, and some of the fireworks got a little swirl going at the end. But I thought I did pretty good on the snowy field and adding the lowlights and the highlights. So for me, that was a win. And at this point, as new as I am and as little as I know, that's about all I can hope for, is little improvements here and there. Here's my finished journal page, and I want to thank you for watching. And please click the like button, leave me a comment, and subscribe to my channel to continue watching my beginner's journey into the world of arts and crafts. Thank you, and bye-bye.